You say the joke you didn't even find funny. The group laughs. You smile with them. You nod. You keep the energy light. And for a few seconds, it works. Nobody turns on you. Nobody gets uncomfortable. Nobody rejects you. But on the way home, something feels off. You can't explain it exactly. You just feel smaller, like you traded something invisible for a moment of safety. There's a version of you that exists in private. He says what he means. He doesn't shapeshift to fit the room. He doesn't need everyone to like him in order to breathe. You know that version. You've met him when you're alone. But the second other people enter the picture, you become someone easier to accept. And that gap between who you are alone and who you become around people, that's where approval seeking lives.
You think you seek approval because you're insecure. That's not deep enough. You seek approval because, at some point, your nervous system learned a rule. Connection is safer than truth. Maybe you learned that being liked kept the peace. Maybe being agreeable protected you from rejection. Maybe being easy to manage made life smoother, so your brain adapted. Psychologists call this attachment conditioning. You learn to read rooms fast, adjust quickly, smile on time, soften the truth, say what keeps you included, and over time, that became automatic. Now approval doesn't feel like a want, it feels like survival. That's why approval seeking is so hard to detect in yourself. It doesn't feel weak, it feels normal. It shows up as being nice, being socially aware, being easygoing, being mature. But underneath it, there's usually one question running the whole system. What do I need to become so I don't lose this room? That is the trap. Because the more you shape yourself for acceptance, the less solid you feel inside yourself. And the less solid you feel, the more approval you need. It becomes a loop. You perform to be accepted. Then you need more acceptance because the performance made you empty.
The shift happens when you realize something uncomfortable. Approval is not love. It's not respect. It's not belonging. And it is definitely not self-worth. Approval is often just temporary permission to stay in the room. That's all. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology did. Epictetus said that if you want to improve, you must be willing to be seen as foolish. Not because foolishness is the goal, but because truth often costs image. And most men would rather protect image than become real. That's the real reason you seek approval. You are trying to avoid the pain of being disliked, misunderstood, or excluded. Not because you are weak, because some part of you still believes rejection means danger. But adulthood demands a new relationship with discomfort. If you are going to become a man with weight, you have to stop treating every social risk like a threat to your existence. You have to stop reading disapproval as proof that you did something wrong. Sometimes disapproval is just the cost of honesty. Sometimes tension is the price of self-respect. Sometimes the room getting colder means you finally stopped performing. And that's not a loss. That's the beginning.
You do not fix approval seeking by becoming rude. You fix it by becoming anchored. Not, I need everyone to understand me, but I will not abandon myself to be easier to accept. That's the path. Start noticing the moments where you edit yourself in real time, the forced laugh, the unnecessary apology, the opinion you soften, the silence you choose because speaking might shift the room. Don't try to fix all of it at once. Just catch one moment, and in that moment, stay. Stay with the discomfort. Stay with the silence. Stay with the possibility that not everyone will approve. That is the rep. Not dominance, not performance, not rebellion for the sake of rebellion, just self-loyalty. Because every time you tell the truth without reshaping it for applause, your nervous system learns something new. I can survive not being liked. And once you learn that, you stop negotiating your identity for comfort. That is where real confidence begins.
That joke you laughed at, that opinion you swallowed, that version of you who keeps checking the room before he checks himself, he's not broken. He's just tired of surviving through performance. You do not need more approval. You need more permission to remain yourself when approval disappears. Maybe next time the room gets quiet. Maybe next time someone doesn't like what you said. Maybe next time you don't reach for their permission. Maybe next time you stay.